How's it going, Jack Tackers, and welcome back to another video for you guys. Today I'm going to be ranking all of Christopher Nolan's films from the worst to the best. With the release of Tenet, I thought this would be the perfect time to do so. So yeah, let's just get on to the ranking. At number 11, I have Insomnia. Now, this is the part where I should mention that none of Christopher Nolan's movies are bad. I don't think he's ever really made a bad movie. All of his films are either decent to masterpieces, and this is a decent movie. It stars Al Pacino and Robin Williams. I think they're phenomenal actors, and they actually are really great in this movie. It's got a cool setting with Alaska, and I think the story is really well executed. It does have some dull moments, and it's not as, I guess, mind-bending as some of Christopher Nolan's other work, but it's still a decent movie. And, you know, if someone said I have to rewatch this movie, I mean, okay, it is my least favorite Christopher Nolan film, but I wouldn't be too upset about it. I still think it's pretty good, but I always feel like this is the more forgotten movie out of the bunch because I don't think it actually was written by Christopher Nolan, and it was based off, I forget if it was a book or like another movie of the same name. I always forget that, but Insomnia, it's a decent movie. I enjoy it. If you haven't seen it, yeah, I would recommend checking it out. Moving on to number 10, I have Christopher Nolan's very first film, Following. I do like this film slightly more than Insomnia, mainly because it's kind of cool to see the beginnings of Christopher Nolan, and I do think that this has a really interesting concept. It does kind of peter out towards the end, and it's a very short film, so for that to happen, it's kind of but it's still a good movie. I enjoy it. I think, again, the concept's super interesting. This guy just follows people, and it's not like for some malicious intent. It's just like he follows people, and then he gets caught up in some stuff, and yeah, it's a super interesting movie. At number 9, I have Dunkirk. Dunkirk is interesting because I'm not a big fan of war films. I know a lot of people are, you know, super big fans of the genre. I mean, I like certain kinds of war films, and again, I still think this is a good movie. I think that the score, I think that the pacing is amazing, and the execution of these battles and these air fights and stuff, and all this stuff on the ocean is super cool. And I really like the scale of this movie and the intensity of this movie. It's got great acting. It's got you on the edge of your seat. It is a good movie. It's just not top tier Christopher Nolan for me. I still like it though, especially for a war film that I usually don't, you know, go to war films if I want to watch a movie. Yeah, it's an enjoyable time and I like it. Moving on to number 8, I have Memento. Memento is, I don't even know. This is the, I guess, first really time-bending type of movie on the list so far. And Memento is just weird. And I don't even know if I really understand it, to be honest. As of now, I still not sure. However, I do really enjoy it. It's super interesting, and it's a movie you can really dissect and kind of get into and really analyze what is happening. It's got a good cast. This was like Christopher Nolan's first hit after Following, of course, and for that reason it is pretty cool. It's really small scale, but it always keeps you guessing and on your toes of what's actually going on, and for that reason, yeah, it's a really good movie. Moving on to number 7, I have Christopher Nolan's newest movie, Tenet. I enjoyed Tenet. It's pretty good. It is a solid movie. I wasn't disappointed by it per se, but I don't know what I was really expecting to begin with. It is a super interesting idea. It's not necessarily time travel, but at the same time it kind of is to an extent. I won't spoil anything here if you have not seen the movie, but yeah, just go check it out. I did do a review for it on my Letterboxd, so if you guys want to check that out, please do so. But yeah, Tenet is a good movie, definitely one of the better films of 2020 so far, and Christopher Nolan did it again. Not a bad movie by any means, it is solid. Moving on to number 6, I have The Prestige. Now, The Prestige is pretty interesting. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did when I first saw it, but yeah, I do like it. Christian Bale is in it, and Hugh Jackman, they're really cool. The twist is very interesting. I won't spoil it, of course, but the twist is very like, whoa, what's going on? And yeah, there's a lot of blink and you miss it sort of things going on in this movie, and it is pretty cool. It's not, again, one of his best movies, but it is a really good movie that I enjoy, and I guess I would say is kind of underrated against Christopher Nolan's movies. It's got an amazing cast. I believe Andy Serkis was in it, and Scarlett Johansson as well, which is just kind of crazy. And yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff going on in this movie. Great cinematography, great visuals. It is super cool. Moving on to number 5, I have Inception. Inception is what? It's amazing. First off, I want to mention that the score is beautiful. Wow. And these top 5 of Christopher Nolan's films, the next 4 we'll get into shortly after this, but these top 5 of Christopher Nolan's movies are phenomenal. They are some of my favorite movies of all time. Inception is slowly becoming one of my favorite movies. I've only seen it once, but I keep rewatching certain clips and analyzing certain moments in the movie, because it's just one of those films. Well, you can kind of do that with almost any Christopher Nolan movie, but especially with this one, it's just like, man, the cinematography is incredible. The visuals that they are able to pull off in this movie is super crazy. Leonardo DiCaprio, he's super awesome, and there's just some crazy action sequences. It is intense, it is awesome, super cool idea, and yeah, Inception's really good. Moving on to number 4, I have Interstellar. Interstellar is probably one of my favorite space movies of all time. It is incredible. I feel like I keep saying that for like all these movies, but hey, it is what it is. Interstellar score, wow. It's so good. The docking sequence, and I know that the score for Interstellar's kind of become a meme. It's kind of funny. Yeah, but it's so good. Interstellar's amazing, man. Matthew McConaughey's acting, holy shit. You know this scene I'm talking about. It's phenomenal. This movie also has great visuals, mainly with most of Christopher Nolan's movies, of course, but it is such a good movie, and it is so whimsical, I guess you could say, and yeah, I just really love it. Moving on to number 3. What could these top 3 be? Number 3 is The Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight Rises is great. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. The Dark Knight trilogy as a whole is my favorite set of movies of all time. They are my favorite movies of all time. The Dark Knight Rises is the weakest of the trilogy, I would say, if I had to pick, but man, it's still an incredible film. It is a masterpiece. I love The Dark Knight Rises. It's a beautiful, beautiful ending to the Dark Knight trilogy, and I love it to death. Moving on to number 2, I have Batman Begins. Now, Batman Begins is the best superhero origin story of all time. It is so great. It is so interesting to kind of see the psychology of Bruce Wayne becoming Batman, and really in a realistic setting, what it would be like for Batman to exist. And I like that shit with superheroes. I don't know, I really love the realism stuff with superheroes. I think it's just interesting, an interesting concept to tackle. I know people love, they're more lighthearted, sort of cheesy roots of the characters that are brought to screen with the comic book movie genre. But honestly, I feel like Batman Begins kind of showed that, it's not really a genre. The comic book movies aren't really a genre anymore. There's sort of, the comic book movies can sort of be their own genre, in the sense that Batman Begins is a drama or something like that. It's a bit more realistic and darker. It's a darker take on the character, and shows that, we're not messing around. This is hardcore, so to speak. Now, obviously, Batman Begins wasn't like the first movie to do that. I would say Batman '89 was the main reason for Batman kind of being this way in general media. Tim Burton, what he did with the Batman character definitely revolutionized him. But Batman Begins just brought it, I think, executed a bit more in a modern setting, of course. But Batman Begins is amazing. It's just great. My number 1 pick's The Dark Knight. Yeah, it's my favorite movie of all time. You guys know I always talk about The Dark Knight, and I won't talk about it that long. So yeah, The Dark Knight's my favorite movie. But yeah, that's all of Christopher Nolan's movies ranked from worst to best. Of course, I'm going to hear your rankings down in the comments below. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Poop.